here, Chosin Moshe. Yisro is referred to as the father of Moshe. Kano Yisro miskabed Moshe. And the Chosin HaMelech. Here, Yisro is priding himself that he is the father of the king. Moshe told in the past, Moshe would attribute the greatness to his father. Shenemar vayoshev el Yeser Chosno. He returned to Yeser. What does it have to identify as Chosno? He valued him as his father-in-law. You know something? It's a little difficult. This mechilta. That he has to be identified as Chosin Moshe. He's the father of Moshe. That tells us the way he esteems his son-in-law. He says, you know who I am? I'm the father-in-law of so-and-so. But previously, we see he says that Moshe would attribute the greatness to his father-in-law. Because it says, Vayoshev el Yosef Chosno. What happened? Moshe had taken an oath that he wouldn't leave Midian without permission from his father-in-law. Now Hashem comes to Moshe and says, you must return to Mitzrayim. It says he returns to Yesach Chosno. There's permission. Until then, he's referred to as what? As Yisro. So it says he's referring to Yesach Chosno. First of all, we know who Yeser is, right? Yeser is Chosno, is his father-in-law. This firstly. So it's not that indicates he's giving his father-in-law any special claim, right? It has to say Chosno over there. And then he says, we're going I'm going to my father-in-law. You know, how does that show? Yisro, to say, I am the father of so-and-so, that is an indication that he himself is being esteemed through his son-in-law. He takes on special value. But the other way, I don't hear it. I'm going to yes my father-in-law. Has no relevance. What you just said is incorrect. It says Yisro is the father-in-law of Moshe, father of the king. At this point, they left Egypt already. They're in the desert, so of course he's the king. What is that? That was before when he was a little nobody. He was a Midian before he went back to Egypt. What was he? L'Moshe Yisrael. What did he hear? What Hashem had done to Moshe Yisrael. You should say what he did to Yisrael. Moshe is part of Klal Yisrael, right? So why is it identifying Moshe separately? Shokol Moshe connect Kol Yisrael. Okay? Because Moshe is the equivalent of Klal Yisrael. Es Kol Asher Roso. What it says, he heard all. The original Vayishma, Rashi says, what motivated him to go? Kriyas Yamsuf V'chem Samolik. And then it says, and he heard. So how do we learn from this? Es Kol Asher Roso. Es Kol Asher Roso. Could say, it's a sharosa. What's the kol sharosa? I mean, in addition to what he heard something else. What else did he hear besides the kriyas yamsuf and the chem samolik? Right? And it says also what he did. It says kol sharosa Hashem. Birida samon beru b'mamolik. No, that's the point. That's the point they're making. No, because it's two different things. By Yishma Yisro Kohen Midian, he heard. So seemingly, what did he hear? Eis Kol Asher Rosa. But Rashi says, which is the Gemara, by Yishma Yisro is going on Kriyas Yamsuf B'chem L'Samolik. And then, how do you know that? Maybe Yishma Yisro Kol Asher Rosa, he heard. Do you read the Samon, Be'er Amolik? And we're mentioning Amolik again. Right, so how do we know? So if we're mentioning Amolik Kol Asher Rosa, what God did, first of all, what is God doing have to do with Amolik? Right? The mon and the bear, that's Hashem. Amalek is a battle, right? It's not Kol Asher Rosa. What's Kol Asher Rosa? Number of difficulties here. See, maybe the Osa Amalek is the victory, because they prayed. Without the praying, clearly, as his hands were raised, they were victorious. See, clearly, this is Asher Rosa. The victory came about because it's what Hashem did. Okay? I'm not going to explain this right now. It's difficult. Ki Hotzi Hashem. You get down in that way. It's fine. Not a problem. The posture is not. No, it's Gemara. No, the posture is you're supposed to keep your head down. Your head is supposed to be turned down like Eved Lefnei Rab, like a servant before his master. You're humbled. Just the opposite. I mean, the Ramos says that if you look upward, it says the angels make a mockery of you. You know, with middle of Shmona Esrei, middle of the Amida. Ki Otzi Hashem zu gedola kulam. That's the ultimate. That he took us out of Egypt. Say we speak about this. Remember what I say on this. Ki Otzi Hashem. Zu gedola kulam. This is the greatest. I mean, after the 10 Makos and everything, they were destroyed. The greatest he took Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. What's Ki Otzi Hashem? Yisrael Mitzrayim. Right? I mean, you destroy the prison walls, and you incapacitate the warden and the prison guards, that you walk out. Is that a great accomplishment? That Hashem took us out of Egypt, took out Yisro Mitzrayim. You know, Yisro understood Mitzrayim the way very few people understood Mitzrayim. He was an advisor. He knew what it was. He wasn't just an ordinary person. That Klal Yisrael were able to be, and we were pagans, over the Avodah Zarah. We were exposed to the worst level of spiritual impurity. And that we were able to leave Egypt intact, as believing people, as spiritual people, that's something, this is the greatest accomplishment. We're not talking about the physical extrication from Egypt. Ki Otzi Hashem. We're talking about the spiritual, that we left spiritually intact when we left Egypt. Vikach Moshe, Chosin Moshe, again, it's being continuously reiterated. Yisro, the father of Moshe, es Sipora, Eshes Moshe Achi Shluchel. He'd taken Sipora, the wife of Moshe, after she was sent away. Rashi, Ach Shluchel, She'omar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Midyan lech shuv Mitzraymo. When Hashem said to Moshe, return to Egypt, V'yikach Moshe Ishto v'Ezbonov, took his family with him. So it's interesting, you see something here. Moshe understood how long was he going for. He was going just for 10 months, right? Yet he took his wife and family. Maybe 11 months. What are you taking your wife and family? You go on a business trip, you take your wife and family. Hashem says, return to Egypt. So what does return to Egypt mean? You should return to Egypt. Hashem never told him to take his wife and children with him. But he understood that to mean, if I'm going back, it's my wife and children with me. 1 second. Okay? I just asked you, you go on a business trip. You take your wife and your wife with you, or and your family. It's a temporary. 1 second. So what happens? Vayitzi Aaron the cross of Yushir Bar Elokim. Omalo Mihe Melu. He meets Aaron, his brother. And he says, "Who are these people?" Omalo Zuhi Ishti Shenososi B'Midyon Ve'elubonai. Aaron never met his sister-in-law or his Moshe's children. He says, "This is my wife. These are my children." Omalo Ulehechana Tomolichon. And he says, "Where are you taking them to?" Here. Omalo Mitzrayim. I mean, it's interesting. It's like a dramatic type of interchange here. It's my wife and children. In the middle of the desert with these. And where are you taking them? Where else? Where do you think he's taking them? He's taking them out for an outing in the desert, right? It's obvious he's taking Omalo Mitzrayim. So he says, I'm taking them to Mitzrayim. Omalo al Rishono Mitztarim Vatobod Osef Aleim. We're paying for those who are there. You're coming to bring more Jews to Egypt. Omalo l'chil ve'sovech. So when he heard Aaron say that, he says, return. Not l'shnei voneh v'ochalos. She took her 2 children and she went back. That's achish shluchel. Okay? So Moshe, when he was told to go, he understood that meant his wife and children. He got the story wrong. Why did he circumcise a child on the way? Why did he do it before he left? No, because it would be a danger if he circumcises, travels immediately. It's dangerous. So circumcise Midian, leave your wife and children in Midian, and go yourself. It's only because he was taking them along. Okay? I mean, Moshe didn't understand what Aaron was saying. He had to hear this from Moshe, from Aaron. Who are they, my children? He said, we don't have enough Jews in Egypt. Al Rishonim on the Mitzdarim. What do you mean? What do you mean on the Al Rishonim? Those who were there were pained, and you're coming to bring more Jews there to be pained to a greater degree. Firstly, when Moshe is going back to bondage, is not yet. Secondly, they're Leviim. They're not part of the bondage, correct? Moshe's family is not be part of the bondage. So Mitzdarim means just being in Egypt, being in that environment. It's a toxic environment, spiritually toxic, right? We don't have enough. What Moshe didn't know was a toxic environment. Moshe was there before he fled, right? So evidently, what happened? There must have been a deterioration. It was even worse, right? Not only case for even your wife, right? So, but Moshe originally considered, so he said he didn't know. So, but Moshe, maybe he said he did know. Maybe he did know. He knew it was bad. He knew it was bad. He knew they were over there Avodah Zarah. But what happened in Egypt? You know what it means to witness the 10 Malchus? It's one in historical opportunity. When does this ever happen? Never happened, right? No, to be exposed to Yad Hashem. So you say there's a downside, but look at the upside. Aaron says it's still not worth it. Not worth it, because you never know what impression it leaves. You never know. You know, I'll take my child on a trip. Every day we're going to study. And that'll somehow protect them from the influences of that, whatever other environment. Do you know that? Do you know that for a fact? You never know. You could study with your child 20 hours a day. Exposing your child, people to certain environments, you never know how it could affect them negatively. So Aaron says, on the mitzvah l'rishon, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to see them out. It's not worth it. Keep them home. Send them back. And that's why he sent them back. He had a full understanding. He had a full understanding. I mean, not maybe to the same degree, but he had a full understanding, definitely.
How do we understand that?
I mean, he hadn't been there for 60 years. He's returning after 60 years to Egypt. 60 years is a long time.
Even the time period that he was there.
What? Okay, we'll get off. We don't go off the tangents. You have to ask me what hospital and who the midwife was in a minute. Okay. Okay.
How do we explain that the Levium had a special
Dispensation? There's a different because when Yosef, Pharaoh said the priests are not conscripted to government work, government responsibility. So the Levium were the priests of the Jews. So they were exempt. There was the 4D.
So it was Yosef who obtained that from...
No, Paro instituted that into law. It's interesting. The 4D, Paro, he established the 4D. Right, rabbinic, the divinity exemption.